All right, I got to talk about this stuff. It's why I do what I do with dogs, and it's why I relate to dogs of what they go through. I tell people, yes, I'm on the autism spectrum. I look normal, handsome, I sound normal, I do all these things that people say, well, how could you be? If you know me, you realize what I struggle with, and I am pretty good at masking, and I also limit myself to the very few situations that I can actually tolerate. And one of them being when I am around a dog focusing on their needs and doing my job to help people with that. I'm able to be present enough where I can get myself into this state, which is identical to what I'm teaching dogs to do through their single pointed focus, their connection through commands, through, just mental and physical organization when they're becoming sensory disorganized. And that happens a lot to people on the spectrum. Some people, it's constant. They just can't exist and they need someone to care for them. There's people like me with, what do they call it? Limited needs. Like I can live, I can pay my bills. I've cleared six figures and made a good living and been on, it's not like I'm sitting here, I can't wipe my ass. It's not what it's about. But there are moments where you would think that that's the level of lack of capability someone like me and other people on the spectrum have. So medical things are always an issue. I had mentioned about a week and a half ago, I went to get my blood drawn and they couldn't find the vein, which has never happened, but it was like a whole thing. And instead of getting worked up after 2 attempts, I decided to leave and reschedule because I'm trying to get this function health panel done because I want to see where I'm at with my health, especially after my best friend died at 51. Granted, I'm a little healthier than this poor guy was, but I'm 51. I got to see what the hell's going on in me. And I really want to do that. I've been on top of my health. I want to see where I'm at and I want to optimize it. So I really want to get this done. And unfortunately, when you do that, the only company they work with is Quest Diagnostics. You can look at them if you've ever been there. I don't even have to tell you how awful that place is. I've never been in such a dystopian, dehumanizing situation. And in one where it should sort of have like the opposite, because where people are nervous, we've all fasted. I mean, there was no access to the bathroom because when you go into this creepy waiting room where there was only like 6 chairs for like over 10 people. They were like, I gave some of my chair to someone because there was like elderly people standing there and sitting on the floor waiting. Plus, we all had to drink extra water to prepare for this goddamn test. So we're all filled. We got all pee. There's no bathroom access because it's in a medical building and there's no one at the desk. It's just a kiosk. You check in with your name. They scan your ID on the laser thing and that's it. There's no human connection other than the person who comes to open the door and call the next name of the person. And I even saw that lack of humanity when the lady, very nice, you can tell was nervous. We're trying to make nice with the phlebotomist because we want to be gentle. They get it. This is what they should understand, the human experience of what people are going through when they're in their presence day in, day out. So they said, good morning, how are you? Down the hall on the left. Like no hello, no acknowledgement that she was being polite, was a new person, which normally when I grew up, people would say, hello, how are you? Not even to be like disingenuous, just like it's just a nice thing to do if you're going to interact with a person, especially if you're going to take blood from the person and we're all nervous, we're hungry, we all got to pee, and you're just like it's nothing. So Quest, it's really not function health's problem. I do hold them accountable because I complained to them and they said there's no other companies they work with. I go, can I just go to my doctor? I'll go up to Alaska and have my primary care doctor take the blood and we'll send it into your lab. I just can't do this. This is 2 times. And now this anxiety level, what happened was, so I'm going to talk about the autism things. First, there's levels, and again, we all get anxiety. There's levels of it. Maybe average person has anxiety level of 4 for this. People on the spectrum get to like level 8 of this. I mean, it's like a surgery level anxiety just for basic things like blood or dental work. So again, we cope with it. I try to breathe. I try to just get myself in a good headspace. I zone out on the way there. But then when you go into the waiting room and you have these people standing there all over the floor and everyone's frustrated and you can feel that energy, and then I have to pee. I mean, it's too much. It's too much. So I had an appointment time. I scheduled it. I checked in. And now it's almost 30 minutes later and there's just no one coming out the door. So you can't even ask like, well, what's the wait? And you know they're going to get annoyed at it. And I felt it. And the one thing you learn when you're on the spectrum, you're not going to fix it. What are you going to do? Medicate yourself so you're numb to life? I'm not going to be high all the time. So I got to just deal with life and just learn how to navigate. So I found that I was at my limit. You feel this pressure building just like a dog is on a walk and that reactivity is about to happen or the anxiety is ready to kick in when the owner's getting ready to leave. And then you feel it's like to the point of no return. And I've gotten better at getting myself back to the point of return. Because it's hell. It's hell for me. People start treating me even worse because they see this big intense looking guy who's having a very hard time internally and just trying to find some answers or help or someone to be empathetic, because empathy goes a really long way when you're in these moments as someone on the spectrum. As a parent of someone, maybe your spouse is struggling with these sensory issues and these anxiety issues, that's probably all they need. You don't have to try to minimize it. Don't ignore them. Just ask what you can do. Tell them you're there for them. Let them know they're being heard. Don't let them feel ridiculous because they're the one person who's having a hard time with this and other people. And that's what you see is you're like, why is no one else thinking that this is dystopian, ridiculous? And doesn't anyone else have to pee? Is anyone else starving? Like, why is everyone just sitting there like it's nothing and accepting this? Again, we saw a lot of people accept a lot of things during COVID, and there's a lot of unhealthy people now as a result of that. So let's leave it at that. But I'm saying I'm not wired that way. You can hear podcasts from me over 15 years ago saying the same shit. I am just not going to do it. I'm not trying to be belligerent. It's reality. I'm not going to fall into dystopia. I'm not going to give in collectively because we're being bullied by bullshit. Just not. This is what the dog community doesn't. It's not going to work on me. I'd rather die. But anyway, I felt it coming. I'm like, I got to leave. This is now the second time. Last time they couldn't get blood from me. Now this time, and again, time is valuable, but it's also like preparing, not eating, thirsty, or not thirsty, having to pee. It just was not the highlight of my day. I want to get it over with and move on with my life. So I stood up. There's no one to complain to that works there. The door to the back is still closed. So I just looked at it. It says, how are you people accepting these conditions? I go, you're all sitting on the floor. I go, there's no one here to help us. And I go, you're just accepting that this is okay. We're the customers. Never forget that. And everyone's looking like I'm a crazy man. And I just walked out and went to my car and went home. And I got to pee in because I had to go so freaking bad. It was ridiculous. But this is, I can't, I'm not, I won't, I don't, and will not. I just can't. I'm sorry. It's not going to make it fine, but at least I'm going to say my piece. At least I'm going to say something to function to maybe future customers could be treated better. And they also have to, there's a lot of people who have sensory issues. There's a lot of neurodivergent folks out there in the world, and we're not making it up. Some people are doing it because it's trendy. Some of us have been dealing with this our entire lives and have not been treated very well, and we're tired of it. So here's the final segue. What I think I'm going to start doing is I believe I'm going to start doing some kind of coaching for people like me, maybe people who have children, like young adults, people who are just trying to, not psychological counseling, coaching. Most psychologists who are not on the spectrum really are not, it's almost irresponsible to be working with people like us, but to give life advice, to be that empathetic, like, hey, I understand exactly what it was like what you went through at your dentist. I've been there. Here's what I do. Here's how I've learned to become aware, because let's be honest with ourselves. It's not going to get easier. You can't just take a pill and make it go away, and you can't sedate yourself out of life. So you're going to have to learn to understand yourself and see these triggers and navigate them or avoid them. I'm pretending I'm looking at someone on a screen doing a counseling session, by the way. And get through it. Even if you have to avoid or it's going to take more time for you. And yeah, you try to explain to people, surprise, not one person is going to give a shit that you're on the autism spectrum unless you're a young kid and you're visually struggling and you have high support needs. That's the word I was thinking of earlier. I have low support needs. That means that I could use more support. I don't think if I had the dog thing and maybe this new thing that I'd like to add to my counseling repertoire, I'd probably not be able to work. I wouldn't be able, or work in like some kind of like a labor job where I don't deal with people, or very the sensory components would have to be just right. So I don't know, be able to help people, give them advice, give them a place where there's someone who actually does have empathy, because I've been there. Only people who have been there. That's why psychologists that don't have autism just don't understand what our experience is. We're not, yes, our brains are wired different. We do have certain special interests, but sometimes that special interest is to keep ourselves sensory organized, because our brain it has a synaptic activity to it, and we have to keep that at a steady rate. And when things get confusing and scary and anxiety inducing, that's meltdowns. It's just to what level. And again, I'm someone who can articulate all this because I do have low support needs. So I think I can at least let people understand, So I don't know. What do you think? Feedback's great. I hope you don't take advantage of me for revealing myself, because I have had a few people where I've actually shared things similar, and they could care less. They just almost got even more terrible to me. So that's the reality. I'd love to talk about it. Anyone else in this kind of community? I am members of groups, and you will get it. I know you will. It's the people, the normies, that I share this with on my other pages that just are like, okay, I know the doctors creates anxiety for everybody. Nobody likes needles. Everybody has to pee. Yes, but 4 versus level 7, 8, 9. That's the difference. We don't want it to be this way. Trust me. If I had an option to not be like this and struggle with so many stupid little things, I would take that pill in a second.